How SpaceX and NASA will colonize the moon. The golden words of Neil Armstrong upon first setting his foot on the moon echoes in the minds of the entire human race even today. Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin's initial Apollo 11 moon landing was more of a political triumph over the Soviet Union than a scientific one. The mission lasted just 3 years, and little actual scientific work was performed. Although the space race between Russia and the United States is long over, but that doesn't even imply the human interest in the moon is dried up too. With the entry of private players such as Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk in space exploration, the interest in the satellite has only peaked. On the same note, some of the greatest minds in space research and business have come together to explore and develop low-cost options for building a human settlement on the moon. A group of space experts, including leading NASA scientists, are optimistic about establishing a human colony on the moon before the next decade. It sounds fascinating to say the least, but the ultimate goal isn't really colonizing the moon itself. Most scientists have bigger targets in sight. The lessons we'll learn and the technology we'll develop building a human base outside of Earth will eventually be the key to colonizing Mars and the other planets according to them. Although the moon is as dull as a ball on concrete, it'll eventually provide a blueprint to developing the technological know-how of establishing a human colony on Mars, which is the ultimate goal as the red planet replicates the conditions required for life to a large extent. Mars simply put more resources than the moon. Humans haven't been put on the moon since 1972. The Apollo program that put the humans on the moon was pretty expensive and would cost in excess of $150 billion in today's perspective. And this is the reason NASA hasn't sent a manned mission to our national satellite since then. But thanks to the advancement of technology, putting a man to the moon is easier and cheaper than it ever was. Even NASA wants to go back and establish a sustainable presence, complete with the Lunar Space Station, in order to test new technologies that will pave the way for a crewed mission to Mars. According to research papers, the lunar base would house around 10 people for stays of up to a year at first, and could eventually grow to self-sufficient settlement of 100 within a decade. The colony would most likely be established on the outer rim of one of the moon poles, which received more sunlight than the rest of the surface, so it would help keep solar-powered equipment running. The astronauts would probably live in an artificial habitat, which is radiation resistant and would allow for a range of living areas, as well as easy storing and transport. The moon does not receive enough natural sunlight to grow plants on any variety, so the artificial habitat can also provide protected habitats for basic crops, which would be fertilized with the help of a toilet that recycles human waste into energy, clean water, and nutrients, making it self-sufficient. NASA plans to get the moon on SpaceX's Falcon Heavy, and while they have taken quite a lot of equipment on the first trip, 3D printing can be used to produce pretty much everything else once they get there. For its Moonlander bid, SpaceX put forward its reusable Starship spacecraft, which is designed to carry large crews and cargo for deep space voyages, and land upright both on Earth and other celestial bodies, including Mars. At present, SpaceX's Starship is the most advanced and powerful spacecraft available in the world. In its formal plan, NASA captures Artemis progress to date, identifying the key science, technology, and human missions, as well as the commercial and international partnerships that'll ensure we continue to lead in exploration and achieve our ambitious goals to land astronauts on the moon. The agency's own powerful new rocket, the Space Launch System, SLS, and the Orion spacecraft are closer than ever to their first integrated launch. The spacecraft is complete while core stage and its attached 4 engines are undergoing a final series of tests that'll accumulate its critical hot fire test this fall. Under the Artemis program to return humans to the moon, NASA wants to use its own space launch system rocket to launch 4 astronauts on board at Orion crew capsule, which will then dock the lunar space station called Getaway. The idea is for the Getaway to be go between the SLS and the lunar atmosphere. Separately, SpaceX has plans to combine the Starship spaceship with its own Super Heavy rocket to make a combined vessel that'll tower at 394 feet tall and the most powerful launch vehicle ever deployed. The contract, worth $2.9 billion, involves a prototype Starship spacecraft that is being tested at SpaceX's South Texas facility. Under the terms of the award, SpaceX will fly Starships to the lunar surface without a crew at least once before transporting astronauts. The Artemis mission, previously scheduled to send humans to the moon by 2028, was hastened to the 2024 in March by an order issued by the Trump administration. NASA says there's a good chance that the mission could happen in 2024, although the agency is currently conducting a review of the entire Artemis program.